Hi, welcome to Hoop-de-Doo, and welcome to part 3 of our series on twins turns. And today we're going to learn how to do turns when one hoop is going in one direction and the other hoop is going in the opposite direction. And if you remember, in the first tutorial on twins turns, we learned just your basic turns, your forward turn and your reverse turn. So that was the forward and then the reverse. Okay? And in the second video, we learned a little bit more advanced turn where you're actually putting the hoops behind your back. Okay? So that's a forward advanced turn. Okay? And there were a couple things that I wanted to point out from those videos. And one is, when you're doing a basic move, and we will talk about this more in part 4, which will be combinations, weaves, and turns, and how to make a turn become a weave. And it helps you understand that you're doing basically the same thing in the turn as you would the weave, or you might call it, I think some people call it a reel. I'm not sure, so correct me on this if I'm wrong. So what I'm thinking is, when you're turning, when you're going to just do your basic forward turn, okay, and it goes like that, okay, you actually turn from one direction to facing the other direction, okay. You can, rather than turning, okay, you've got your hoops going forward, forward, spinning, spinning, and just turn your body, okay, so that the hoop in the front is now, the hoop that was on the right side is now in the front, okay? And then try the turn without turning your body, so that then you are actually doing, and if you keep it going, it turns into, I call it a weave, okay? So you're doing it in the front and the back. So just think about that forward turn. All you're doing is you're not starting it with a hoop on each side. You're going to start it with one behind you and one in front of you. And then you're going to do your, and just stand still, okay? So you can do that. And I think that that is perhaps a turn that becomes a weave. Okay? So you've got that. You can do it in forward and reverse. So sort of experiment around with that, and we will really get into that in greater detail in part 4 of the videos, making weaves from turns and vice versa, and doing combinations, how to put all this stuff together. Let's start with the opposite directions with a turn. And I know this sounds difficult, but I think it's easier than both hoops going in the same direction. So basically what you want to do is, you want to know how to spin each hoop. Okay, here's both of them going in the same direction, which is forward. And you want to learn how to be able to spin one hoop in the forward position, forward direction, and one hoop in the reverse direction. Okay, so they are going the opposite directions. Hi, I just wanted to add on a little bit about hooping, spinning the hoops, one in one direction and one in the opposite direction. And basically, I think it's easiest to just start practicing with the hoops separately. Okay, so try going in both directions. You can try just stopping the hoop with your hand. So if it's going forward, just stop it and start it in the opposite direction. Okay, and if you're trying to put this together, it's really difficult for your brain to start thinking, oh, no, 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 I don't want to do that. One hoop going in one direction and one in the other direction. So start with your dominant hand, okay, doing the hardest part, because your dominant hand is always stronger. So that would be my right hand is my dominant hand. So I'm going to do the reverse spin in my dominant hand, my right hand. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the left hand going first with the forward spin, okay, because that's easiest. Okay, so you put that in your left hand. Forward spin, left hand. Okay, and now let's just put that on automatic pilot, that left hand forward spinning. And we're going to take the right hoop and we're going to think, forget about the left hoop. The brain's got it going, okay? And just forget about it. And now we're going to take the right hoop and we're going to start it in the reverse direction and just focus on it, okay? And just start it. And just think, the rhythm. This was really difficult for me when I first started because my hand-eye brain coordination are really, really bad. Okay, but just remember, start the easy part with your non-dominant hand, which is my left hand, and do the hard part with your dominant hand. And it just takes practice, getting one going, and then give the one in the right hand sort of a push forward. Okay, so you've got it holding it like this, and just maybe swing it back and forth a bit. Okay, and then when you're ready, when it comes up, then spin it. Open your hand, and don't think too much about it. Okay, just do what comes, what your body wants to do. Sometimes your body wants to do it though, and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so that's just a little tip on learning the opposite direction spin. Okay, so good luck. Let me know if you have any trouble. If you want to show me your videos, I will help you troubleshoot there and maybe give you tips on what you might be able to do better, okay, and how to do it. I'll put the right hoop in my right hand, and this is my right hand. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to change it to the reverse direction. It's going to be going that way. Okay? So you're spinning and spinning, and you're going to do the left hoop in the left hand with the one which is going forward. You're going to turn your body towards that hoop, and it looks like that. And then when you finish, that hoop is going to be going in the opposite direction that it was when you were turned the other way. Okay, same thing. And it's the same exact technique that we were using on the first video and the second video. Okay, so it's the same thing. Let's say that the right hoop is going in the forward direction, and if you watch part 2 of the tutorials, it shows you how to do the turn. So I'm going to face towards the hoop as I turn. I'm going to turn into the hoop. Okay, and remember that move? Okay, that's from part 2. So watch part 2 and you'll learn that move. Okay, and then the hoop is going in the reverse direction. Forward direction, you turn into the hoop, reverse direction. And I show the hand positions and everything on part 2. So make sure you watch that first before you watch this one. Okay, and then you have the other hoop is not going to be going forward with this one. It's going to be going in the reverse direction. Okay, and what it does when you switch is it just does a very easy thing. Okay, you're spinning it in reverse, and it's your basic turn from part 1. Okay, so it just goes grabbing it and you're turning your body. And then you roll it across your hand, like we talked about in the other video. So you've already learned this stuff in part 1 and part 2. This is part 1, the basic turn, okay? And I think you'll remember that. Okay, so that's, it's going in reverse, the hoop. The reverse basic turn. Okay, and the right hoop is from part 2, and it is the more advanced turn. Okay, so one hoop is doing the more advanced turn, and the other hoop is doing the basic turn with it. Okay, so this is what it looks like together. And the hard part, I think, is just getting your brain to wrap around doing one thing with one hoop and the other thing with the other hoop, totally different. Okay, but you just work on each one separate. And I think it's easier to, if your dominant hand is the right hand, I think it's easier to start this move with that hoop going forward, because it's going to be doing the hardest part. Okay, it's going to be doing the more advanced turn move. So try that with your right hand, and just keep practicing it with that hand, just that one alone, and just keep doing it. And then practice the left hoop, which is the easier one, I think. Okay, so you've got the hoop going, and you grab the hoop, okay, and you bring it over, down, and remember you roll your hand across and back inside so that you can start continuing your spin. Okay, and these are, always remember on these turns where the hoops are going in different directions that it's always best to turn into the hoop that's going forward, in the forward direction. Okay, so the hoop that's going in the forward direction is the right hoop, this hoop here in my hand that's closest to the camera. Okay, so you can do it by turning into the hoop, which I just did, okay, or you can do it turning away from the hoop and towards the other hoop, okay, and that looks something like this. Okay, so we're going to try that again. Let's go back to the start. Okay, so we're going to be turning the opposite away from the hoop instead of towards the hoop in the right hand. So here we go. And again, each hoop is doing exactly what we did on part 1 and part 2. Exactly the same thing. Only one hoop is going one direction, the other hoop is going the other direction. And you just want to, I guess that I start, when I'm turning away from the hoop that's going in the forward direction, I tend to start it first. Okay, so if you watch, I'll try to slow it down. So I'm going to start it first. And when it gets to the point where I'm making my motion under my arm, like we talked about in part 2, then I start thinking about moving the hoop in the left hand. See, so now I'm moving that hoop to the other side. Because the hoop that's going in reverse is just doing a basic move, a basic turn. So it has less work to do. So you can pause it or leave it spinning until the right hand gets its complicated little thing going on, okay? So you're starting, slow them down. And see, I'm still spinning the left hoop, and then And then when I start like that, and it starts coming to the other side, then I start moving this hoop out of the way. So think of it as almost like a weave, where the one hoop is following the other one, and you don't have to start moving the one in the left hand until the other one starts to come around. Okay? And that will keep them both together in rhythm. Okay, so let me try that one more time. I'll try to slow it down as slow as I can. Okay, so here we go. Now you move it. So that they both move into position at the same time. Okay? And you just try that. Try it both ways. Turning away from the hoop that's going forward. Turning away from the hoop that's going forward. And turning towards the hoop that's going forward. Okay, so here we go. Towards the hoop. And now this one is going forward. That's in my left hand. And we're going to turn away from it. Okay? Now, there's another neat thing that you can do with these. And rather than turning your body from facing one direction to facing the other direction, you can keep your body, like we talked about at the beginning of this video, you can keep your body facing the camera or whatever, and you can just do the same motions as you would if you were doing the turn. And then it becomes a weave. Okay, so with the opposite directions, it looks something like this. So if you were going to do a turn, you would be facing that way, the way I'm facing, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm going to face towards the camera, and I'm going to do that turn without turning my body. We're going to try to do the turn without turning our body. And that will make it look more like a weave, or I think some of you call it a reel. I'm not quite sure what to call it, so let me know. Okay, so the hoop over here, away from the camera, is going forward, and this one is going backward, in reverse, the one in the left hand. So, and the one in front of me, they're going to be in front and in back. Okay, so you do exactly the same thing as you would. You pretend like you're going to turn your body, but you don't. Okay, so, and the hoop in the right hand that's going forward is going to go behind my back. Okay, so you can just, okay, and it looks sort of like a weave or a reel, whatever, but it looks cool. That's the important thing. Okay, and when you're doing this, then you can bring it back into your spinning, or you can actually do another turn, or you can bring it up higher. I can't go too high because of my ceiling here, but you can do it a little bit higher. Okay, and we will get into making turns become weaves, and making weaves become turns, and doing all kinds of combination things. So with the turns, make sure that you just try different things, and sometimes when you make a mistake, don't get frustrated, because sometimes that mistake turns into a new move. And really be mindful of that, because that's where the fun is with the hooping, is discovering new things that you may not have seen anywhere else. And it gives you a good feeling of success, and that's what I like, is success. And I like to see you successful too. So send me your videos, send me your comments. If you have problems with any of these, please let me know. And I'm always happy to help you troubleshoot. Okay, and remember that with your turns, even with your ones that the more advanced turn, remember that you can do it with both hoops, okay, the advanced turn, or you can do it with one hoop doing it and the other hoop doing the basic turn. So, okay? So the hoop in the right hand did the advanced turn, the hoop in the left hand just did your basic turn. So mix them up a bit. Don't be afraid to try different stuff, because that's how you learn new things. Okay? So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on part 4.